Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. So I want to talk about how after I got fired from Walgreens Pharmacy back in 2013, the next day I literally applied to 100 jobs on Indeed. So when I graduated pharmacy school in 2013, or any pharmacy graduate that graduates from pharmacy school, if you don't do a residency, if you don't have an eye towards inpatient pharmacy, which is a hospital, ambulatory care pharmacy, which is like clinics like Kaiser, or industry pharmacy, so imagine big pharmaceutical companies like Gilead, Pfizer, you're going to retail pharmacy. And most of the retail pharmacies, CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, and like to this day, like fast forward, 11 years in the future, no one I know that works at CVS, Walgreens, or Rite Aid actually enjoys their job. They're just doing it because it's a job and, it's stable. But I don't feel like anyone has really fulfillment in those jobs. And I'll do another separate video talking about like what pharmacy jobs to avoid. And honestly, for me, a retail pharmacy job is one that I would avoid. But so after I got fired from my jobs at Walgreens, I have a video talking about it. Can link it in the video, but it's my most popular video somehow. After I got fired from Walgreens, I remember just feeling a combination of relief because I'm free from this like toxic environment. I'm free from retail pharmacy, which I didn't like at all. I mean, dealing with people who are angry, they're rushing, and I get it. You just went to the doctor's office, you got discharged from a hospital, and the last thing you want to deal with is getting your insurance process and paying a copay and waiting in line and having to listen to this pill counter pharmacist consult you. So, and then insurance is difficult, right? Processing insurance is very hard and it varies per insurance. So, it's not easy, to be honest. And I remember after I got fired, I felt relieved, but also kind of like weirdly motivated. Like I wanted to show Walgreens that, hey, I am going to do better. I'm going to fall forward is what I call it. I'm going to fail forward. I'm going to get fired forward, right? I'm going to learn from this opportunity and do better. And then one day they're going to look back at me and regret firing me. Right? And I'm gonna be better from this. So, that was kind of my motivation for a while. And I remember the next day, I was like, you know what? I hate retail pharmacy. I'm only gonna apply to hospital inpatient pharmacy jobs or ambulatory care pharmacy jobs. At the time in 2013, they were saying that hospital pharmacists get paid less than retail pharmacists. So it didn't make sense. Like, why would I spend a 1 year residency where I'm getting paid $50,000 a year for 1 year just to get a hospital job that pays less than retail pharmacy like Walgreens and CVS? At the time, it was $63 an hour, and I think hospitals were a little bit less than that. But fast forward till today, like hospital pharmacists get paid way more. Like I think the average retail pharmacist is maybe like low 70s. And your average hospital pharmacist is low 80s. So, it changed like significantly over time. And, the pay is even higher now. Like, I literally think like today as a pharmacy manager at a large hospital, I'm probably paid, I want to say almost double like what a retail pharmacist at CVS Walgreens makes today, right? I make double, and it's a lot more fulfilling because I use my clinical skills and my clinical knowledge working as a hospital pharmacist, more so like what I learned in school versus retail pharmacy. You literally just count pills, consult patients, reconcile medications, give shots, and deal with insurance, which is super annoying, right? I hate dealing with insurance. Like, it's so mind-numbing to have to call an insurance company to get a prior authorization approved. You're waiting on hold for like 10 minutes. Finally, someone picks up, and they put you on hold for another 10 minutes, and then you have this long line of patients staring at you in the drive-through window, people staring at you angry because they have to wait, right? So to me, it just felt like a sweatshop, right? And I wasn't using my clinical skills. I was very unfulfilled. So, I remember after I got laid off, I grieved that moment. Obviously it sucks to get fired. Not laid off, got fired. And I remember just going home, and I remember the next day I came home and I was playing NBA 2K13 for some reason, because that was what I was playing as I was studying for my boards. And I remember I just started playing that to decompress, and told my mom, and she was stressed and all that, and it's embarrassing too to get fired, obviously. And I remember the next day I woke up like early at like 8 a.m. because I was so used to waking up early going to work. I was waking up around like 6 a.m. and I had to drive like geez, like an hour and a half to go to like Menlo Park area, something like that, up the peninsula in the Bay Area. And traffic was so terrible, and then I had to like pay for parking, and I had to move my car every 4 hours. So it was like crazy, right? And that Walgreens, you literally have to clock in right in the dot. Like you have to wait there. And if your start time is 8 a.m., you have to like wait in front of the clock in at 8 a.m., or else they like hound you, right? It's kind of like the post office. And I remember like I woke up at 8 a.m., which was early, but like still late, like compared to if I had a job. And I went on Indeed.com. And I remember just searching inpatient pharmacist, California. And I saw like at least 300 jobs across California for inpatient pharmacists. And I remember I said, you know what? I'd rather be in the Bay Area because that's where I'm from. That's where my parents' house is. That's where I was living for free. And I was like, okay, let me apply to all the Bay Area jobs first. So I literally did like a circle of Bay Area inpatient pharmacist jobs. And I literally just saw all the jobs, all the hospitals, and I applied to all of them, right? Like literally whatever job I saw, I literally applied. My resume was already updated. So I applied to a bunch of these jobs because I knew it was like a numbers game, right? So I went on Indeed, find jobs, applied to the ones in the Bay Area. And what I also did on the first day was I reached out to all my clinical preceptors. I did all my preceptorship at Santa Clara Valley Medical Center. So I reached out to all my preceptors saying, hey, like, looking for a job. If you know anyone that's hiring, please let me know, right? And then a lot of them would be like, oh, hey, I'm at Santa Clara Valley. They have an outpatient pharmacy as well. And honestly, I'd rather, if you want to work outpatient pharmacy, work for an outpatient pharmacy tied to a hospital. That's way better than working for an outpatient pharmacy like CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid. You want to do one tied to a hospital. So that's what I was kind of aiming towards too. But I want to do inpatient. So I applied to like Santa Clara Valley outpatient as a per diem pharmacist. Like, oh, hey, I'll work full time. Whatever hours you give me, I'll take it. Right. So I reached out to all of my preceptors, all my connections that I knew to see if anyone can hook me up or help me. Basically when Indeed applied to all the hospitals in the Bay Area. And I remember I waited. I was just like, all right, that was like almost like 50 jobs. And I just said, okay, well, if I don't hear a response, I'm going to expand my circle again. So now I did like, instead of South Bay, I did, up to San Francisco. And then my circle just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time, right? So to the point where I was literally applying to every single hospital in all of California. So I think I remember like in one day, I literally applied to like 100 jobs in California. Like literally from the southern tip of Northern California, like you're talking about like Paradise, Redding, Bakersfield, Apple Valley. I didn't give a shit. I just applied to every single job because I just thought, hey, you know what? I'll just work a hospital inpatient job for a year or two, get some experience, and once I have experience, I'll apply back to the Bay Area where I want to be. And that's exactly like what I ended up doing, right? I ended up getting a job in King City, which is in the middle of nowhere, right? It's about an hour and a half south of the Bay Area. I remember I was literally the only Asian person in that whole town. Like, and every time I would walk out, people would just stare at me. And it was mostly Hispanic people and white people, but they would literally just stare at me, like as if they never seen an Asian person ever. And there was just me, who was an Asian pharmacist, and there was one doctor, Dr. Dow, who was also Vietnamese. And that's it. That's the only two Asians in all of King City. I remember I would apply to all these jobs, and like, because I knew it was a numbers game, right? I knew I had no residency. I knew that I had no prior experience. I had no experience as an intern. So like, I just had to apply to a bunch of jobs. And I knew that like, realistically, I'd get a job through connection, or I'd get a job through, just working in an undesirable area, right? Like imagine an area no one wants to be. So I applied to 100 jobs. And I remember every morning I'd wake up, refresh Indeed.com and look at all the new jobs. You can filter by new jobs. And then I would literally just apply to those jobs. So I remember I think I applied to 100 jobs. And out of the 100 jobs, I got about 10 people reached out for interviews. And let me see if I remember. So I had an interview for Redding, which is obviously undesirable, larger hospital. I forgot the hospital name. I had an interview at Apple Valley, which is like on the way to Vegas. Also, once again, undesirable. I got a job interview at King City, which I ended up going with. I'll go in later as to why, but it was just the hours, and it wasn't too far from the Bay Area. I got an interview in Stockton for a hospital, because obviously I went to school at Stockton, so probably the director of pharmacy there, or the hiring manager, they probably went to UOP, so, they probably hired new grads UOP. And then I got a job for a infusion pharmacy. So they kind of make IVs for like nursing homes in Stockton. I got a interview in, I think, Salinas, which is about maybe 2 hours south of the Bay Area. And I had a few other jobs like trickling here and there. So I remember I got like 10 interviews roughly, or maybe 7 to 10. And then of the 10 I interviewed for, I got maybe, I think I got 2 offers. So I got an offer for the long-term care infusion center in Stockton. And I also got a job for the one in King City, which was Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, and pretty simple job. So the home infusion one, it was owned by CVS, I think. It was called like Omnicare, something like that. And I remember they offered me like $63 an hour, and then the King City job offered me like $58 an hour or something like that. But I just thought, hey, you know what? I like the hours, Monday through Friday, no weekends, 8 to 4:30, small hospital, easy, get the experience. And then so I ended up taking that job, right? And I remember like after getting that job, I was like so excited, like, you know, finally have a hospital. When I did that job, I remember I was like really hungry, really ambitious. Like I wanted, it was a small pharmacy, like literally like it was just like 2 full-time pharmacists and the director. And I remember I would ask the director like, hey, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it, right? If you want me to help you on a policy, I'll help you write the policy. If you want me to help you do protocol, I'll help you do the protocol. If you want me to teach the nurses this, I'll teach the nurses this. Like I was just really hungry to learn and better myself, to prove that I can do better than like Walgreens, right? And ultimately worked there for about almost 2 years and ended up getting a graveyard job back at Santa Clara Valley Medical Center. So what I like to say is, like, for new graduates who are trying to get jobs about hospital experience or about a residency, it is possible, but you have to be willing to work graveyard. You have to be willing to go to a less desirable area to work. So think Reading, think like, you know, Roseville, think Apple Valley, think like random areas no one wants to be at, right? And then, or if you're in a close area, you have to work graveyard, right? So I did both. I worked in a random area of King City. I never even heard of King City, right? Then I worked graveyard at Santa Clara Valley Medical Center and did that for 2 years before I stepped into pharmacy leadership and a director role. So, you know, so like, it was really interesting just seeing that process, like how motivated I was. I was so hungry to like just apply to every single job. And I knew it was a numbers game, and like I didn't care where I was going to be. Like as long as I'm in California, obviously as long as ideally I want to be close to home, but as long as I'm in California, I'm licensed in California, that's all I care about. So I was literally willing to live anywhere, you know, to get that experience, but knowing that I'd come back to the Bay Area to, you know, obviously get my be near home and save more money, and it pays more in the Bay Area. So that's exactly what I did, you know. So I worked at King City for a year and a half, went to Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, worked there for about 2 years, and then I went to my first director role. So in 4 years, I went from being fired from Walgreens to being director of a hospital, right? So that was the motivation that I had and the drive that I had. So that's why, to me, getting fired was a blessing in disguise, because it forced me out of a retail pharmacy environment, which I hated anyways. Like I hated retail pharmacy. I mean, I would have done it, but I would have done it only for Santa Clara Valley Medical Center or Kaiser, maybe. But for like Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, I was like, forget that. I'd never want to do that again. So if you do, like I said, if you want to do outpatient, you want to work for a hospital, outpatient pharmacy. So Kaiser, Santa Clara Valley Medical Center. If you want to do retail, maybe Costco, Walmart, closed door, mail order pharmacy. Those are way better than like CVS and Walgreens, right? Like, just trust me on that. So, you know, that's what I kind of did. And like I said, getting fired got me so motivated, got me so fired up to be better, to prove them wrong. And it helped me become a director. Because I was at King City, I met a coworker named Fred, who he really mentored me, right? Like he used to be a director of pharmacy at a hospital. I looked up to him. He was an older white guy, loved to talk. And he just really gave me a lot of good wisdom. Like he just told me, like, Steven, like you should like invest your money. Like here's like a 401k, like you should invest in index funds. And, you know, he helped me invest in some other random stocks that I ended up losing money on, but just the mindset of like investing. And he also said, like, hey, like as a director, if you want to become a director, Steven, one day, like you gotta do this. Like you should get a master's degree. So that's when I researched my master's in public health degree through UC Berkeley, and I used him as a referral. He just really mentored me and like taught me how to become a director. So because like I said, he was a retired director of pharmacy at a big state hospital in Atascadero, and I just really picked his brain because I wanted to learn, and I had a lot of downtime at that job. So the job's pretty easy. Had a lot of downtime, had a lot of time to learn about finance, had a lot of time to learn about getting a master's degree. So it was just really pushing myself, right? Like in retrospect, I probably didn't need my master's degree to become a director of pharmacy, but I mean, it certainly helped maybe shape who I am today. But I did spend $50,000 to get that online degree, right? But yeah, I remember Fred. He really mentored me. He really got me right and helped set me up to my success today. So mentorships really expedite your journey of success, and I never would have thought about becoming a director of pharmacy or pursuing my master's degree if it wasn't for meeting Fred at King City. So like I said, one door closes when I got fired from Walgreens, but another door opened by meeting Fred, by getting me exposed to being a director of pharmacy, and it helped lead me to where I am at today, where I was a regional director of pharmacy at one point, and had various leadership roles, right? And because I'm in pharmacy leadership, that led to me doing real estate and owning 52 units today and all that. So like I said, you never know what crazy butterfly effect one thing can happen. So anytime, like, this is kind of off topic, but anytime a major setback happened to me, so I got fired, whatever happened after me was way better, right? So when I got fired from Walgreens, which is a setback, I got a hospital job, which led me to become a pharmacy director today, making over $250,000. So from that setback, where I was getting paid like $60 an hour, I'm now making like double that, right? So that setback led me to my successful career today, where now retail pharmacists I'm interviewing retail pharmacists who want to work the hospital that I'm managing, right? So like it's like a complete 180. And I use a lot more of my knowledge, and it's more job security, right? Despite me getting laid off, like, don't work for shitty small hospitals, right? That's another video for another day. But like, yeah, don't work for small shitty hospitals. I work for big hospitals, right? That are financially stable, and they're not gonna like lay you off or flex you, right? The times I got laid off from hospitals because I worked for a small shitty hospital, right? They're too small, not doing financially well, managed poorly. Avoid those, right? Maybe do it for a year and a half to get experience, but try to go to a bigger hospital that is more financially stable. So anyways, yeah, when I got fired from Walgreens, it opened the door for me becoming a hospital pharmacist, eventually an inpatient pharmacy director of a hospital. When I got laid off from my shitty hospital in Orange County, called Orange County Global Medical Center, that forced me to buy a bunch of real estate and scale it to 90 units at one point, sold my mobile home parks, and now I'm at 52. So why I'm sharing this is because if you think you're at your worst moment in your life, something else is better for you in the future, right? Like, and I have two examples of that. Ready? I got fired. I went from fired from Walgreens to regional director of pharmacy over 2 hospitals, making way more money. When I got laid off from Orange County Global Medical Center, I ended up buying 90 units of real estate and increased my net worth to like $5 million plus. So I just take things are happening for you, not to you. So if something happens to me at my current job, which I hope it doesn't, right? I hope to leave on my own terms, but if something does, I know that something else higher for me. There's a higher purpose out there for me, right? So you just have to look for it and put in the work, though, to look for it and make the best of it, right? Like I said, one door closes, another door opens, right? When you get fired from something, there's a reason why, and there's something else better for you out there, right? So that's why I'm sharing my journey. That's why I'm sharing my journey. So, like I said, the first like 4 to 5 years of my career, I wanted to prove Walgreens wrong. And I was using that hatred as fuel to do better, right? But now that, it's been like, 11 years since I got fired, like, I don't need to prove Walgreens wrong anymore. It's already done, right? At this point, it's just like what works for my lifestyle, right? So you gotta use what you got, right? In the beginning, I was using anger. I was using anger as motivation to become a director of pharmacy so that I can look back one day and maybe the Walgreens manager that fired me is applying to the hospital that I'm a director at, and I can just be like, hey, remember me, right? And then have that smile, that smirk, and prove them wrong. But now I'm over that phase, right? It's been so long, like, whatever, forget. I've come to peace with it. It helped me become a better person to who I am today, helped shape me to who I am today. So I would not take it back. I would get fired from Walgreens 1,000 times again, right? Because it helped me become to who I am today. So it's really how you react to that adversity, and remember that's happening for you, not to you, right? So anything bad that happens to you, there's a higher purpose and a greater outcome in the future. Just wait for it, right? And I definitely waited for it, and I can see it now in retrospect. So, it was quite interesting. So, just wanted to share about what it was like after I got fired from Walgreens. I literally applied to 100 jobs, did 10 interviews, got 2 job offers, right? Just a numbers game. And I ended up getting a job, starting that job in like October. So I got fired in like, I think early September, and I got that job end of October. So there you go, only 2 months without a job, and ended up being a job that I found my mentor, who helped me become a director of pharmacy, who helped me learn how to invest, and then that led me to my director of pharmacy job, which led me to meeting my Christine, who's now my fiance, right? Had I not been that director job at that hospital of Kindred, I would have not, met my future wife, Christine, right? So that happened for another good reason. And on top of that, I moved to SoCal. I got laid off when I moved to SoCal, and because of that, it got me to buy a bunch of real estate. So once again, just there's a reason why it happens to you. That's the key message. Anyways, if you want to learn how to buy multifamily real estate, I have a mentorship program, have some one-on-one coaching as well. Check the links down below. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.